Hey, it is an honor to have you at the Undisputed desk.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Why did you feel so strongly that this would happen?
I have issues, clearly.
No,
That's it. No, you know what? Look, I don't put things out there unless I know them. I care more about me being 100% right. I'd rather have broken 5 stories, but I got them all right, than I break more stories than everybody else and I got 5% wrong. So it's important to me. And I put some wild stuff out there, but I want people to know, you watch Fox NFL Sunday, and I say something so outlandish like I did a few years ago that Jim Harbaugh would be out as head coach of the 49ers at the end of the season. Even if they won the Super Bowl, you could take it to the bank. So I'm very conservative of what I put out there, even if it sounds incredibly outlandish. I put this out.
Do you feel pressure to go a little farther when you don't have it 100%?
No, I've got to have it 100%. That's what I care about most. I don't want to put something out there, and that's my name. That's our responsibility to the other guys on that show as well. So when I put this out there, I'd already known that the Giants made their mind up. I put it as a prediction, but the Giants had a conversation literally about a week beforehand that they were going to move on from Odell. And
was ownership involved in the decision?
Ownership was involved? Yeah, obviously. So last year, during the season, teams were calling the Giants to try to trade for Odell. And when it got to ownership, I think Mr. Tisch, most notably, they kind of said, no, we're not ready to do that. And by the way, last year before the season, the Giants were looking like they were going to move on. Pat Shurmur came in and saved him. Said, no, I got him. I can get him on board with me. I want this talent. I want him here. Then a lot of things happen during the year. He does the interview with Lil Wayne and all that. And then it just kind of goes downhill. And at the end of the year, when he pulled his quad, he wasn't even there. They were just like, hey, just, hang out over here. Don't worry. And all of a sudden they started playing well. So I think after that, they just, look, there's nothing wrong with Odell. Great kid, incredible work ethic, great teammate.
Sure.
But sometimes it's like a marriage that passion's just gone. It's just time to move on. Let's just be friends and write each other letters and, check on each other's new families. It's kind of how it went. But in the end here, when the Giants ownership blocked it during the season, when they met about a week before I put out that prediction, they were all on board. Okay, it's time to move on. It just became too much, is how I'd like to say.
Yeah.
So just for the record, before they gave him the biggest wide receiver deal in the league, I said there's no way I'm going to commit that much money to that guy who's had that many issues in New York City.
Right.
And they did. That's the bigger shock of this to me is they gave him his money, and it was just a year ago. Then what changed? Because the only thing that really happened last year that I know of was the Lil Wayne ESPN interview. And he said some things about Eli, coaching staff.
And New York.
Right. And I want to be in L.A., all the above. And I don't know if that just burned the bridge to the ground.
It wasn't just that. If you go look at the Giants, they got the worst body language of any team out there. Every time something happens with Eli, Odell, and now he leaks into the other receivers, they do this. Like, it's a pity party over there. And, look, their offensive line was terrible. They had a lot more issues going into the year than we thought. They brought in Nate Solder. They got Saquon. Everybody thought, okay, great. This team's going to be terrific. There's a reason why they have the second pick of the draft the year before that. There's a lot of holes they had to fill. But again, they were, the owners' meeting, which is coming up upon us, last year's owners' meeting, John Mara had some pretty, strict things to say about Odell then.
He did.
Right? And that's just, so it shouldn't come as such a surprise.
That was after the Paris hotel room incident, remember?
The Paris hotel?
Yeah.
Paris was in L.A.
Some pizza, some
Paris.
makeup.
Oh, that was Paris? I thought it was here in L.A.
It was abroad,
no, it was Paris.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was going on.
There was a lot of stuff in there.
And, like I said, Pat Shurmur, head coach, comes in, and Pat's like, look, I understand the issues. Because back then, too, we talked to a lot of teams. When I was talking to the Giants, I'm like, this is your time to get as much as you possibly can before more things can come out or more drama or more. Because if you guys don't do well this year, there's going to be more drama. So I think Odell's trade value would have been higher last year than it was this year.
So it still looks like to me that they just undid an admitted big mistake that they made giving the contract out. We want to get out from under it. Is that fair to say?
Yes. I think it was. I don't know. For them, it was addition by subtraction.
Do they share the blame for that contract? Should everybody, including Dave Gettleman, have to be accountable?
Absolutely. Look, you've got to, put value on. I think they'd put value on best possible scenario instead of all the scenarios.
So now Odell goes to Cleveland, and I read that
they did Hard Knocks 1 year too early, didn't they?
I was going to say, can we do it again? I want to watch this year.
But I read or have heard that was his first choice because of Jarvis Landry, that they're so close that now he's got his soulmate back.
Yeah,
he is reunited.
Well, I think L.A. would have been his that's where he really wanted to go. But being with Jarvis, yes. But also, here's the thing. Baker Mayfield's a gangster. Right?
He is.
Those two guys aren't going to run over Baker Mayfield. He's not going to be able to tell him, hey, I was open. They're not going to do that. Baker Mayfield is different and the type of guy that I think will fit in perfectly with those two guys. He's not going to sit there and get rattled in the huddle if he's not throwing the ball enough to somebody. He'll check them, put them both in their place. I think team-wise, personnel-wise, this is actually the perfect place for Odell to go to because he needs somebody like that.
How good do you see the Browns being? What's their ceiling this year?
Well, look. We trained the Browns last year for a month in our MMA program. So myself, Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell, all of us went out there for a month in Cleveland and trained them.
Wow.
And day one, and these guys don't know much about football, they saw Baker and they're like, that guy's a little different, isn't he? And gangsters understand gangsters. You know, they reckon, not me, those guys. But that's all on offense. But the guy in last year, the most athletic, strongest dude who's ever put his hands on us was Myles Garrett. Oh, my God. He was. Wow. And we've trained Jadeveon Clowney's and Clay Matthews and just a million of these guys over the years. Michael Bennett, whoever. This guy has the potential to be a future Hall of Famer, incredibly disruptive on that side of the ball. So defensively, they have a lot going for them also there. That team is putting together some really good building blocks. And offensively, look, I think this league is going to get to where you're going to have to play catch up with teams like the Kansas City Chiefs. That's where this league is going, right? Because all the rules, and the Browns are doing exactly that. Would you give them
the edge over Pittsburgh right now?
Oh, yeah.
Would you? Okay.
Really? Okay. It seems like so many personalities wouldn't work, but when you put it that way, they all gel, it makes sense.
Don't forget also, they still have Kareem Hunt if he can get out of his own way.
Yeah.
And
what's
gets
your
back
guess
in.
on the suspension?
I have no idea. I don't know because they're still, I don't know that yet.